NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here. Bring your latest and let's get ready for some Brooklyn Nets news. Yes. Okay, here we go. It is currently July 28th. We are 3 games away from the first game of the restart of the NBA season. And a lot to discuss and a lot to go over since my last episode in which I talked about, some of the moves the Nets were going to do. And actually, I talked about a lot of things. And so let's just dive right in and let's talk about the 3 exhibition games that the Nets played and just what we saw from some of these guys. I touched upon it before, but so this Nets roster is completely different. I mean, let's be honest. There's no Spencer Dinwiddie, no DeAndre Jordan, no Taurean Prince, no Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant, no Wilson Chandler, no Nicholas Claxton. Instead, we've got Justin Anderson, we've got Jamal Crawford, we got Dante Hall, we got Tyler Johnson. We're going to see a lot of Jeremiah Martin, and apparently, Lance Thomas. The Nets recently picked him up. And we're going to be seeing a lot of Rodion Kurucs playing the center spot. That's what we've got. That's the team. Look, let me say this. At least there's guys who are getting a chance to prove themselves. Jamal Crawford's been out of the league this whole year and kind of shocked me because he was always he's not a very efficient scorer, but he's a professional scorer. You could throw Jamal Crawford out there, he can play 20 minutes and he can get you, 14 to 20 points a game, right? And that's what this Nets team needs, which is why they got that. Tyler Johnson, the guy that the Nets tried to get before, and he's, the Heat matched his offer. He's a very solid player, and you can't look at what happened in Phoenix and say this guy's not going to be good because he was hurt for most of Phoenix. I think he's going to be more closer to the guy he was when he was playing with Miami, being a guy who you can play 20-ish minutes a game as well and give you 10 to 15 points a game off the bench. And so I like to see what he can do. Lance Thomas, he's a good depth player under these circumstances. Dante Hall has had good numbers in the G League, but will that translate? I don't know. He's like a stretch big. Justin Anderson, I don't know. He just gets in fights with who did he get in a fight with? Was that James Harden? I don't remember. He got in a fight with somebody. I don't remember who it was. But anyway, Jeremiah Martin is a G League player who's got little, opportunities. Come on. To me, the whole main thing to see in this 8 games is, to me, Jared Allen, Rodion Kurucs, and Karis LeVert. To me, it's all about those 3 guys because those are the 3 guys that, to me, their position in this team next season is up in the air. Karis LeVert and Jared Allen strictly because they could get traded, and Rodion Kurucs because he's been so inconsistent. And I guess John Musa as well, but look, I'm kind of sick of that guy. To me, he can be gotten rid of, but at the same time, he's 21 years old, so maybe he just needs to figure it out. So him as well, but those 3 in particular, to me, are the guys I'm going to watch the most. And I actually kind of going to watch a little bit of Chris Chiozza as well because I like him. I like him a lot. And he's been the starting point guard in these exhibition games, as he should. And I like his ball handling and his court vision. And he's capable of scoring. I don't know. I like him. So, but to me, that's what I'm going to take away over these stretch of games. But before we talk about that, like I said, let's look at the last 3 games, the 3 exhibition games. Starting off with the ugliest game I've ever seen against the Pelicans without Zion Williamson. But then again, there was no Jamal Crawford in that, no Tyler Johnson in that game. Karis LeVert struggled. And the Nets lost by 31. It was just ugly. There's nothing more to say other than that. That was ugly. It was ugly, ugly, ugly. We'll leave it as that. But they bounced back the next game against the Spurs, and it was like a complete 180. I mean, Jamal Crawford did play in that game, and so did Tyler Johnson, and so they helped out a lot. And then Karis LeVert had 27 points in 3 quarters and looked like the star player that we all believe he could be. And they beat the Spurs, and that is what they're gonna have to do to win with this team. They're going to need double digits from Tyler Johnson. They're going to need double digits from Jamal Crawford. And they're going to need LeVert to drop 25 points. And they're going to need great play overall from everybody. And that's what they did. And I think that if they play like they played against the Spurs, they could win a game or two during these next 8 games. Then it was a hard-fought game against the Jazz. That was a good game. They didn't win, but, they hung in there. Their defense wasn't very good. The Jazz couldn't miss a 3, but they hung in. They had a chance at the end, but they couldn't get the stops when they needed to. The Jazz ended up winning. LeVert had an game, but really that game was about Rodion Kurucs. And if there's any real positive to take away from these 3 exhibition games, is how good Kurucs looked in all 3. He averaged double digits in all the games. And look, this stretch 5 thing that he's doing, that he's playing the undersized 5. Could be a good thing for him because he's not afraid to get physical, so he can play, bang down and get the rebound. He's not a very good defensive player. It would never work against Joel Embiid or any real center that has true post interior play. But against teams that don't really have much of an offensive threat on the center by their big, it can work because his skill offensively is a huge advantage as a 5. And why not? We've moved away from the traditional bigs in this league. Why not give it a try? And it seems like it's working for him. So that's my biggest takeaway from the preseason games or the exhibition games was that Kurucs looks sharp, and that Tyler Johnson looks like hasn't missed a beat, and that Jamal Crawford can still get you buckets. So I think this Nets team has a chance to win a couple games. So the truth is, I don't know if this team is going to be able to hold on to the 7th seed. This is my hope. I want the Nets to hold on to the 7th seed and win at least one game in the first round. And if they do that, I'll be happy. Right? If they hold on to the 7th seed, which means they'll probably have to win at least 3 games the way I look at it, or at least win 2 of the games against the Magic. They played the Magic twice. If they can win both games against the Magic, I think they could hold on to that 7th seed. But remember, they're only a half game up on Orlando. If they could hold on to the 7th seed and then win 1 game in the first round, I'll take it as a huge successful season. If they make the playoffs, even as the 8th seed, and either win their buy-in game against probably the Wizards or not even have to do the buy-in game, and then win 1 game in the actual playoffs and then lose, it'll be a success. So the only way I will see this not being a success for the Nets is if they fall to the 8th seed and then lose in the play-in game with the Wizards in the 9th seed, because I really doubt the Wizards are going to jump the Nets to get into the 8th seed, because the Nets are 5.5 up on the Wizards, and that means the Nets would have to lose every game, and the Wizards would have to go 5-3, 6-2 actually, because they're 5.5 up. So the Nets would have to lose all 8 games, and the Wizards would have to go 6-2 without Bradley Beal, by the way, and without John Wall, and without Bertans. So yeah, good luck with that, Wizards. For the Nets to drop to the 9 seed. But they could very easily, and let's be honest, probably will with the team they have, drop to the 8 seed and maybe get in a play-in game with Washington. So if they get in a play-in game with Washington, remember the way it works is it's a best of 2, or first of 2 actually. That the 8 seed only needs to win 1 game and the 9 seed has to win 2 games in a row. So that means the Nets would have to lose both games to the Wizards. If the Nets do that and they're out and they don't even make the playoffs, to me this would be a huge disappointment. Even with the roster they have now, they're better than the Wizards. I'm sorry, they are. Look at the roster. Just having Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Jared Allen, just those 3 guys, Harris, LeVert, and Allen, that is more talent than what the Wizards have going out there right now. I don't even know who's on this Wizards team that could really put up much of a fight without John Wall, without Bradley Beal, and without Bertans. I don't know. The Nets have a better team. So even with no Dinwiddie and no Kyrie, no Durant, no DeAndre Jordan, I expect the Nets to be better than the Wizards. I don't really expect them to be better than the Magic, which have a relatively fully healthy team, but that's why I'm saying the Nets should make the traditional playoffs. And then when it's just traditional playoffs, it's just regular 7-game series, I just hope they win one game. So that's what I'm hoping for. My expectations is that they will be one of the 8 teams and that they will win one game because, like I said, at the end of the day, they still have some talent. I really like Jamal Crawford. I really like Chris Chiozza. I really like Tyler Johnson. And I really like the way Kurucs is playing. I think they have a possibility and a chance to win a couple games. Let's just take a look at the 8 games that they're going to play before we wrap up this video. So these are the 8 games that the Nets got. Orlando on Friday, possible win. Wizards, they should win. Bucks, loss. Celtics, loss. Kings, possible win, but probably a loss. Clippers, probably a loss, despite what's going on with them right now. With Lou Williams and stuff. Magic again, possible win. And then Portland, possible win. So you look at these games, in all seriousness, there's 5 legit games here that the Nets could win. Like the way I look at it, only the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Clippers, those are the only 3 teams that I would say the Nets don't have a chance to beat. So even though I only really expect them to beat the Wizards, is the only team I really feel like they're better than, I think they could win 2 or 3 games. And that's what I'm expecting. The Nets to go 2-6 or 3-5 during these 8 games. And to me, that should get them in the A seed. If they go 2-6, that should get them in the A seed. If they go 3-5, that could get them in the 7th seed, especially if one of their wins is against the Magic. So we'll see, but that's my expectations. And I really do believe that they've got a chance to do that and make a little bit of noise because they may not have the best team, but I do think that this team has enough talent that if they all play well, and Garrett Temple is included in that as well because he has had moments when he's looked good as well. If they all play well, they can beat those 5 teams that I had mentioned. If not, just look at the Jazz game. I know it's an exhibition game, but the Jazz are one of the better teams in the Western Conference, and they held their own against them. I know the Jazz kind of went to the scrubs there in the second half, but still, they held their own. So I think this is going to be better than you think. But I want at least 2 wins. At least give me 2 wins, Nets. At least. And then we'll see what happens. So there you have it. That's the end of this video. Relatively short. I'll end with this fun little news. I did indeed get my money back for my world's dumbest bet. Just throwing it out there because I've talked about it so much. So I did get my money back because the Nets can't possibly have a chance to get to 44 and a half wins or 45 wins. So luckiest break in the history of NetsBoy to be able to get my money back on what was looking to be an almost sure loss. I managed to get my money back, so I am thankful for that. So whatever happens now, happens. I just won't. Now I can go back to literally just rooting for the Nets and keeping my fingers crossed and be like, whatever happens, happens. So just a fun little, end of the episode tidbit there. So keep your eyes open for the next NetsBoy episode. My next video will probably be a couple games in, maybe 2 or 3 games in after the restart. So let me know what you guys think. If you expect 2-6 from the Nets, your expectations of this team, what you feel about some of these players. And if you agree with me that the key is really to see how is LeVert going to be as the guy? How is Jared Allen going to be getting extended minutes, being the only real big? And is Kurucs going to take his game to the next level? We have to watch those guys, and it's going to be very interesting to see. And, yeah. So keep your eyes open to the next NetsBoy. And until then, let's get ready for Basketball Friday. This is NetsBoy, signing off.